First, I want to clarify that at the time of publishing this video, there's nothing wrong with the Polyrath Dragonite Rotom strategy. If you have that team bred and working, I recommend you keep using it. In fact, if you don't have a Ho-Oh team, I would still probably recommend you breed that team over this one, as the cost benefit for this team only makes sense for players with many alts doing multiple Ho-Oh clears per week. With that said, this method from Xiaoqi Aishiguo is the fastest itemless way to clear the Ho-Oh rebattle that I'm aware of. A link to their Bilibili videos in the description, as well as a link to a written version of this guide. I recommend you check out the written guide first for any updates needed. Additionally, because this question always comes up, this is specific to Ho-Oh reruns, so if you're stuck on the Ho-Oh story battle, I recommend you lead with 3 Guts Ursa rings close to the level cap, bring whatever else you have in the back, and click Double Edge or another normal stab move until it faints. Hope that helps those stuck on the story fight, but now on to the actual team. A quick overview of the strategy is that we use Trick Room for speed control, we use Rotom to feint the ads with HP Ground and Thunderbolt after nasty plotting up, and the most interesting wrinkle in my opinion is Psych Up to copy the stat boosts on the Rotom to maximize damage output. Chandelure is our bait Pokemon in that Ho will choose to Earth Power it, and we use Lunatone's Levitate to immune that damage. With some clever use of Psych Up on the Rebirth turn into Phase 2, we can burn down Ho very quickly where most of the time save actually occurs. This strategy has been on my radar just as long as the Polyrath, Dragonite, and Rotom team, but I never thought I would get around to trying it until Denzi Norski, aka Free Reign, made a budget version of the team, showcasing that it did not need to be 5x31. I sure as hell was not going to breed a 5x31 Quiet Lunatone to save 3 turns on a Ho-Oh fight, so special thanks to them for giving this a test run. While the budget version of this team is quite a bit more than the Dragonite team, the cost has dropped exponentially compared to making perfect versions of each Pokemon. The speed order for our team is extremely important as the strategy relies on moves going in a certain order. We're going with a Quiet Rotom and Lunatone and a modest Chandelure. Because Chandelure is modest, I recommend making it quite good, 2x31 in special attack and speed with 25 plus in bulk, so that it may be used for other things in the future. Rotom is quiet to make sure that it's slower than the Chandelure. You can mostly ignore speed so long as your Lunatone is slower. We want 31 special attack or close to it, 25 plus in bulk stats. For Lunatone, we also want quiet to ensure that it is slower than Rotom. Similarly to Rotom, we could ignore the speed stat. Slower is actually better to make it slower than the Rotom. Max special attack and 25 plus in bulk is preferred. Defense is particularly important to Lunatone because it needs to live a crit Sacred Fire going into Phase 2. So getting close to perfect as you can on HP and defense is great. In general, I recommend you get as close to perfect as you can on all the Pokemon's bulk stats, with the warning that the further you get from there, the more likely this strategy may begin to fail, as the AI can start to do different things. The EV spreads are in place to manipulate the AI and cap the amount of damage we can do to Ho-Oh. For example, a Lunatone crit in Phase 1 can push Ho too early, potentially ruining the run. For Chandelure, the EVs are 58 special attack, 252 in defense, and the rest in special defense. For Rotom, we're maxing special attack and maxing special defense with a remaining 6 in HP. And the Lunatone EVs are 166 in special attack, max defense, and the rest into HP. The items are straightforward. We use type boosting damage items for each. Chandelure uses Spell Tag to boost Shadow Ball damage. Rotom uses Soft Sand to boost HP ground damage on the ads. And Lunatone uses a Heartstone to boost Power Gem damage. Every move each Pokemon carries has a purpose. Chandelure uses Safeguard to prevent the turn 1 burn on the team, Shadow Ball for Ho damage, Protect as part of the setup, and Psych Up to copy Rotom's boost. Rotom uses HP Ground for Entei and Raikou, Thunderbolt for Suicune and Ho damage, Light Screen for AI manipulation going into Phase 2, and Nasty Plot to increase damage for itself and the rest of the team through Psych Up. Lunatone is our Trick Room setter. It has Power Gem for Ho damage, uses Protect as part of the setup, and also has Psych Up to copy Rotom's Nasty Plot boosts. For my actual team, I did go with slightly worse stats to sort of limit test what is possible. I went with a budget Chandelure to save on the Chaos Breeder cost, so it's only 30-30 in special attack and speed. I'm using the Rotom that I used for the other strategy, so that one is extremely budget. It seems to be working so far, but I would recommend following the recommended IVs as closely as possible, unless you're comfortable accepting risk that the strategy fails. And then Lunatone, I did just go 1 stat worse in the special attack stat to save, I think, on a Ditto Breeder. So it may be possible in the future. I may recommend that you could get away with slightly worse stats. This is working for me so far. I still would generally recommend that you follow the IVs that I mentioned earlier, though. The battle itself follows a similar cadence to other Ho strategies. The Pokemon order matters, so make sure you begin with Chandelure in the lead spot, with Rotom next and Lunatone last. We use 2 turns to set up. The first is Safeguard with Chandelure, Nasty Plot on Rotom, and Lunatone uses Protect to deny the initial AoE damage. Turn 2, Chandelure uses Protect to deny the add damage and most of the Ho Earth Power damage. Part of the boss mechanics are to break through Protect, but we are perfectly fine with that. Rotom uses Nasty Plot again, and Lunatone sets Trick Room. Turn 3 is part setup, part damage. We use Chandelure's turn to swap places with Lunatone. Rotom one-hit KOs whatever add is on the field, and Lunatone uses Psych Up targeting Rotom in order to copy its stat boosts. Turns 4, 5, and 6 are just using Chandelure's turn to swap with Lunatone. Lunatone uses Power Gem on Ho-Oh, and Rotom takes care of an add if it is present, and otherwise will just Thunderbolt Ho-Oh. On turn 7, before we push Ho-Oh into phase 2, we need to reset Trick Room and set a light screen. So as usual, we swap Chandelure with Lunatone and use the respective moves on each. Turn 8 is crucial. We use Power Gem with Lunatone, Nasty Plot with Rotom, and Psych Up with Chandelure targeting Rotom. What happens is Lunatone goes first due to Trick Room, and its Power Gem pushes Ho-Oh into phase 2. Because this transition wipes stat boosts, we are pushing and setting up for phase 2 on the same turn. Push happens, Ho-Oh uses its automatic Sacred Fire on Lunatone, and then Rotom's Nasty Plot goes off, while finally Chandelure copies the Nasty Plot boost. The remaining 2 turns are all-out damage, Power Gem, Thunderbolt, and Shadow Ball. Lunatone will faint after 1 Power Gem, but it does not matter as we're going before Ho due to Trick Room, and the final Thunderbolt and Shadow Ball will finish it off. As you can see, this is a pretty quick run. Overall, there are fewer turns taken and some minor time saves here and there, like speed control allowing the adds to be taken care of before getting a move off. For new players, I would still recommend the Poliwrath Dragonite Rotom team as it's quite a bit cheaper to breed. A link to that video is in the description. And as an additional reminder, please check the comments and description for any updates or things that I missed that did not make it into the video. I can't edit the video, but I can add addendums and other changes to the strategy, maybe as AI evolves. And all of those go into the written guide and comments, so make sure you check those first. I'd like to thank you all for watching and have a good one.